Let's get this party started. Welcome to the ZBHO Dojo. My name is Spicer, your spicy sensei, if you will. And today on the stream, we're going to be going through some critiques. We're also going to be announcing a future project for this stream. Something I've been thinking about, something that was inspired by the Dojo Warriors. That's right, inspired by you. And we're just going to do that, and we're going to show everybody how it's done. But before we get started, kicking ass, taking names, and turning on that autosave, let us give thanks and praise to the lords and gods of CG. Starting with Frank Frazetta. Thank you, Lord Frank Frazetta. Next, St. Joseph. Next, St. Paul. Look up here, look up here, look up here, look up here, look up here. Good morning. Next, we have Ryan, the king of Slian. And finally, Simon Lee, Spider. Thank you for your education, your inspiration, and your overall badassness. How's it going, Dojo Warriors? How are you doing today? Thorin actually here at the beginning of the stream for once. Way to go. Ordine Adesil. Yes, you are allowed to ask questions during the stream. That's what we're here for. So please feel free to ask your questions. Harry Mandibles, what's going on, brother? Jeff the Chef, we are going to be getting to your piece pretty soon, brother. It's here. It's here. Alrighty. So that's alright. Baroque Bug, what's going on? I hope everyone is doing well. Let's get over into the dojo. We're going to be critiquing some work. We got Guargun. We've got CD Lin, and then we got Vamara on the critique block today. McBobbles in the house. McBobbles. And then we have Jeff the Chef. That's there we go. Good. Someone put it on a Google Drive and it did not have full access. I wonder who it could have been. Well, it was Gatsu. You need to make sure that I have access to the mesh, please. Let me show you what I'm seeing. This is what I am seeing. How's that widescreen working for y'all? Is that widescreen working for y'all? Let's see, where are we? That widescreen working for y'all? Yeah, not too bad. Ultra wide. I think that's good. Alrighty. So, Gatsu, I cannot get access to your file. Alrighty. So this is Guargun. Everybody knows Guargun. He's been submitting some really great work lately to the dojo for us to review and hopefully help others out on their journey into becoming a badass as well. Okay. So, some things here. I know in our conversation we had talked about something that was going to be a little bit more dramatic. So this is very reserved, right? This is really great anatomy. There's, you know, things here and there around the back that I would change, and all of that. There's plenty of good information in here. Make sure you watch your tensor fascia over here, and make sure that your vastus lateralis is going down your leg, not swooping. Okay, and then your knees are way too wide. But this, I would be looking for something a little bit more not action oriented, but something a little bit more dramatic, is what I would love to see here. I mean, you know, obviously do great work, and your anatomy is really nice, and plenty of people would love to be able to sculpt the way you do, but it's just, I think if we can get your composition skills up to your sculpting skills, I think we'll be in a good place, right? So I would, yeah, I would try something a little bit more energetic as opposed to reserved on this type of thing. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, great work. I mean, if we want to go over the anatomy, we can do that. Okay. Your lat is going, it's swirling a bit too much. So what I would do is I would bring this down, subdue it, and then you're just probably not going to have that puffy of a back whenever it's being stretched across our rib cage, right? So I would like to see a little bit more of the rib cage underneath this here. As opposed to it being a bit too flat, because he is, see this one. All right, so this one should be even more so, because the arm is being pulled forward, and so is the acromion process. So this is going to be even more stretched across. Up here, it's just a little bit too blocky in here, and it ends in the armpit, so it would just, these both come from the same area. All right, so you're just going to see them mesh together. There's hardly ever any bisection in there in a rest pose. And then you still need room for your tricep. So your tricep is just it's a little bit too squished. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, next thing that I noticed about this is the obliques. It could be a little bit more heavy on the top side. Most of it is on the bottom, so you're getting this very flat and then a lip. And so what I would like to see is a little bit more flesh in here, and it's coming from 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So this part, which again is a little bit too blocky, have it. Remember, it's always going around the rib cage, like every single muscle around the torso is conforming to the rib cage. Rib cage isn't conforming to the muscle, right? So whenever you're seeing this and you're sculpting this, you definitely want bulk, right? But most bulk is just slightly bigger than usual and a very intense dive into the bony landmarks. So you don't actually need such huge size, right, to make it look big. All you have to do is really define those bony landmarks. But yeah, in terms of the style of all this, it's looking really good. I do enjoy it. And you know, not everything's about anatomy per se, but I think we could definitely capture, I mean, with your talent, I feel like this is just an anatomy study with a Spider-Man on it, as opposed to capturing a moment that is truly Spider-Man. Like, that's you know, those are that's the type of moment that you want to capture. And yeah, you know, it just depends on how you want to treat this, you know. So here we need to straighten this a bit more, going down the humerus, right? And it needs to end at and it's going to end at the head of the patella, right? So it's possibly a little bit too short as well. So we can do something like this, and it's going to be stretched, right? So it's not going to be too bulky up here, okay? And your tensor fascia is going to fill in all of this, right? So generally it just comes down like a tear, but whenever you're bending your leg, because it attaches to the iliotibial tract, your iliotibial tract is getting pulled as well, so it's flaying out the tensor fascia latae, okay? And so a little bit more on the top side, right there, okay? And then here you want to end it, and then you want to have this go to the tibia. So your knee, you want to add a little bit more to the bottom of this vastus medialis. It's a little bit too narrow, right? So you want to bring all that over and make sure it touches the edge of the patella, okay? All right, so the knee is a little bit smaller, okay? So we need the knee here. Here's a kneecap, okay? It's going to go to this little patella. Ligament is going to go to the sitting bone, okay? And then this is just going to be flat. And then what you need to do is you need to block this out, right? Meaning whenever it comes off of the head of the patella, you want to get a rectangle going to the tip of the vastus medialis here, or I'm sorry, the rectus femoris, right? And then you want to hint at the tibia and the ball of the femur right here, right? So the femur, and then the head of the tibia, and then this needs to be over here. This anterior tibialis needs to be over here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, in terms of your anatomy is good enough to get hired. You know, like the way you sculpt characters is good enough to be hired. You just need to create moments that people want to buy, right? Because that's something that's going to be required of you, okay? Especially if you want to get to the upper echelon houses and all that. You need to studios and all that. You need to be able to create these moments on your own over and over and over and over again, because generally you're gonna I mean, it depends on where you go. Some people are like, here's a drawing, make it. Some other people are like, hey, what do you think we should do with this? What do you think we should do with that? You know, it just depends on where you go, where you want to go. Some places require you to be able to compose as well as play, you know. Okay. And then here we want that scapula. And remember, the teres major that you have right here is coming off of the end of the scapula, right? So you have a bunch of tricks here to describe muscles, but I would you're good enough to where you need to take the next step, and the next step is actually understanding what is going on underneath here, and so that's your next step. And you'll look back at all of this work that you think is the best you've ever done, and you'll see all the problems with it, and you'll be ashamed. Okay. So definitely, let's think of something a little bit more exciting, and so we can put your skills to good use. Okay. So if you want to keep this as a sketch, or if you just want to do it just to do it, that's fine. But concerning what we were talking about in our conversation, this is not what we were talking about, right? So what we need to do is create a moment that really symbolizes whatever character it is that you choose, right? Or you can just completely do a brand new one, a brand new character, you know? So you can just start with a blank slate and do whatever you want. But in terms of Spider-Man, this is generally, I mean, just him on the side of a building is just, not that cliche is bad, but because in collectibles, you're pretty much doing the same thing. You're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're screaming, you're angry, okay? You got one leg up, one behind, okay? Or it's doing this, okay? It's always the same thing, over and over and over and over and over and over, okay? But this just, yeah, something more Spider-Man. Because this could be anybody. This could be Batman, this could be Robin, this could be Nightwing, this could be so many characters, right? But you need to make it Spider-Man or Venom or whatever. I think this is Venom, right? Yeah, this is Venom. Right. So, I mean, if it's going to be about the anatomy on this piece, which there's plenty of them, you know, they're just about the anatomy. But yeah. Trying to just think, because I don't read Spider-Man. I've only watched the movies. I don't really know anything about him. But yeah. But great work. Great work. It looks great. You know, obviously it looks great. But we need to take you to that next level. Okay. Alrighty. So next we have again, I said on the last stream, I know nothing about Pokemon. Nothing about Pokemon. McBobbles, what's up? Is my link okay, Spicer? It's a Wii transfer? Yeah, I got it. Got it downloaded. We will get to it. Tennis Slug dope. It's a Spicer. What's good? What's going on, AQ? Appreciate you being here. And Paula, thank you very much. McBobbles, I want this guy's abs. Yeah, man, you just gotta diet, dude. You just gotta diet. That's all you gotta do. You know, just gotta diet. DZ in the house. Appreciate you being here. Sean Davis, hands look great. Tamim Hussein, Sub Spicer, can't wait for mentorship on Thursday. Yep, that's 2 days away. We are starting our mentorship class where we're going to be going over anatomy and collectibles. It's going to be a good time. It is closed for registration. It was only open to 6, so we're going to get these people leveled up, and we'll be announcing the next semester very soon. So if you didn't get in, make sure to start saving up. Ordine, sir, my questions would be, does all Wacom work on ZBrush, like Wacom Intuos 1, etc., etc., etc.? I am a beginner in 3D, need advice. This is the cheapest Wacom, by the way. Yeah, whatever Wacom you can afford is the one that you want to get. Ordine, okay? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's this big or that big or a screen or a hologram, or it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if it's Huion or whatever it is. If you're just starting out, you don't want to spend $8,000 on anything, right? You want to get the bare minimum that you can get started, go to that limit, and then you want to start leveling up everything, right? So if you don't have a PC, I would suggest getting a PC that you can consistently upgrade. So that way you can just swap out parts and boom, you've got an immediate faster computer. So yeah, if you know how to, you know, put computers together, that would be really beneficial. Or if you have a friend, just make sure you trust them, because if that computer goes out of commission, all right. Let's see. Hair Mandibles do a version of that Spider-Man pose with a brown paper bag on his head and the kick me sign on his back. Sumerian King, what's going on? Hope you're well too. Thanks for being here, brother. Is that a piece from a student of yours? No, it's not a student of mine, just someone I'm helping out. Looks great. Would make a great 3D print. Sure would. Hi there, new setup. Yeah, we're going with the 2560. Do y'all? Is it crisper? Do I seem crispy to y'all? Does it seem? It seems less fuzzy, right? Like you can see the UI and everything now. I think it looks pretty good. Screen display has awesome quality. Nice, nice, nice. Thalren, I bought an intro Wacom years ago and it's still going strong. Damn right. Looks spicier. Oh yes. Okay, so let's get to this one. Again, I don't know anything about Pokemon. I want to keep saying that, and I want to keep saying it. Okay, so I'm going to keep saying it. I don't know anything about Pokemon. But one thing I would do to just help you out, because this seems like it would be a 3D print, is immediately just get a base here. You don't want your character floating out in space. Because you want to know what you're dealing with, right? Because ideally you would put some type of environment around here. Right, you would yeah, it just depends on, is it a mini, is it a little toy, is it a collectible, is it a F4F level collectible, is, you know, what is it? Is it going to be this big? Is it going to be this big? You know, it just depends on where you're going to go, right? But I would say if you are going to make this a bit smaller for 3D printing, then I would definitely make these lines way deeper. Maybe you're just planning things out for right now before you actually put on the scales or whatever it is. But if I would make them deeper regardless of what the final platform will be, whether it's 3D printed games or whatever. All this stuff you want to make it a little bit deeper. Okay. Right there. And right. Yeah. So forth and so on. Okay. Yeah, because, yeah, just putting that base down literally just almost saved this thing. Okay. The toes, that's fine. I guess you're still adjusting this, but it seems, again, I don't know a damn thing about this, but I would assume that it would be widest right before it gets to the Pokemon toe. Right here. Right there. And have it feel like it's coming out a little bit more. And I think these are generally pretty soft, right? They don't have any, like, it just depends, you know, like there's those images where they take these into the realistic realm, like if it was a Jurassic Park movie of Pokemon, or if you're just trying to stay as close to the source material as possible, right? But yeah, I don't know what this thing is. I don't know what it looks like, but initially those are my suggestions with this. It looks cool. But yeah, like I don't know if this is going to be painted on or if it's going to be sculpted as well. So if it's going to be sculpted as well, I would just say make your lines and your forms are very shallow, not in their quality, but just in their contrast of surface, right? And so I would practice being a little bit more aggressive so people can actually see what you're trying to do, right? Because I know a lot of us, whenever we're first starting, we're very hesitant to do anything because we spent so much time getting to where we are at that moment that, one, we don't want to mess up and have to resculpt it and then refigure all that stuff out. Two, we don't want to lose what we're satisfied with and we don't really understand how we got there, right? But if you just start off right now with your sculptures and get just a little bit more contrast out of your lines, everything's going to read a whole lot better. Okay. Hi, I would also avoid the small distance between the belly and the base if it's for 3D printing. It depends on the kind of printer also. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely have it fused to the base. Not a huge deal, but yeah, you could raise the belly up a little bit if you wanted to. Okay. But yeah, resin 3D printers this is not going to be a problem. This isn't going to, prevent you from having a successful print. Okay. But yeah, again, if I was a nerd, I'd probably know what this is. Julio Cesar Figueiredo Lopez. What's going on? Alrighty, so we have Vamara's arm here. He wants a quick critique. So, let's give it to him. Yeah. Okay. So, first thing is that your hand is pretty much straight across. So it's going to have this feel to it. And we're in a relaxed position, which is something like this. Right? So if we take a look at my hand, you can, this is what you have. Trying to get in camera. Right? And we need something like this. A little bit more relaxed. Okay? So we don't want to flatten all of our knuckles over here like that, right? Because I have to lift my pinky and my ring finger to go flat with everything else. So I just want to relax. Okay, so for that, what I want to do is I want to bring this down. Okay, so I want to bring the arm, or not the arm, the pinky down. Okay. All right. And your thumb doesn't twist in this way, right? If you go like this, it will, but you have it in a relaxed position. So the pad should be pointing towards the pinky. Okay, yours is pointing out here, right? Which if you did that, you would be breaking your finger or moving your finger back, right? So we need to redirect the thumb. Okay. All right, and actually we're gonna spend a bit of time on this thumb. Alrighty. So it just looks interesting. Okay, so the thumb. Okay, we're gonna have I don't know how we're going to do this. Okay, so we want it relaxed, right? Want this thumb. Then what I want to do is I want to start with a flat face going all the way down to the wrist. So where the fingernail is, flat face. Where the top of the thumb is, flat face. All the way down to right here, flat face, and then it's going to be the wrist. Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to observe. Okay, second, on the inside is we have we have the pad right here in the center, and the pad is not the entire thumb. Look at your thumb, it's a very small thing. It looks like almost like a mosquito bite in the center of your thumb. But I see people sculpting the entire pad as that little bit right there, okay? So next we have a curve that is going diagonal, right? It's not straight across, right? If we bend our thumb a little bit, trying to, you can see that it's not straight across from the knuckle. It's got a little bit more of an oblique angle going to that, okay? Next thing is that the meat, this right here, that, okay, that comes from the corner right here of the thumb. So it comes out and you're just making a little long egg shape, okay? Next thing is that you have your pads here, okay, on the pinky side. That's, you're gonna have pads right here, 1, 2, 3, very, very subtle. And then from here, you're going to get a little teardrop, okay? And then when we look at the wrist, we can see it's not as drastic as it's coming into the wrist, right? We see it, if anything, it's a wrist and then it drops down and then there's a hand, okay? So that's kind of the things we're gonna start observing here, okay? And the thumb is probably not that long as well. It's a very long thumb, but whenever we put the meat in here, it might shorten it a bit. So let's start with the meat of the hand, okay? Right here. And we're gonna bring this over and bring it back, okay? Right there. And next we wanna look down at the thumb. Remember, it should be a flat plane. Okay, so I'm gonna get my trim dynamic, BTD. Ooh, TD. And we're going to flatten this out. We're going to flatten this out. Okay. And then we're gonna flatten this out to that last joint of the thumb. Okay. That's what we should have, okay? Now, when we look at our thumb, we can see that our thumb is pretty much coming straight up from here, right? And there's no big indent or anything like that here. So we need to neutralize this form so it's not so convex, or concave, excuse me. And then we are gonna smooth, smooth, smooth. So now we need to look at the profile of our thumb. So we should have the front bit, which is mostly bone and tendon and a little bit of skin, a little bit of muscle, and then all the stuff at the bottom of each part of the thumb, okay? So remember what we said, that the joint was not directly across. It was more oblique right here, okay? So it's not gonna go straight down, it's gonna go a little bit more oblique. So we're gonna mark that in. Boom, 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 boom. So now yours is going in right here. It's really beefy over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to even this out first, because it's much easier to have a subtractive method of sculpting as opposed to an additive one, okay? So any time that you can find a subtractive way to take care of this, and I'm gonna flip this actually, so I can be looking at the hand, looking at my offhand, right, while I sculpt. Okay. Alrighty, so your next bit is that you have too much meat over here on just this side, okay? So in between this, was it carpal, right? Carpal, metacarpals. Right here in between these two is the meat, right? So right here. But you have it all the way back here, okay? So we need to come down here, okay? And that little webbing is gonna come off the side of this finger right here, right? So it's gonna come down, it's gonna go there, and then it's gonna go up the side of our thumb here. Boom, boom. Smooth, smooth. Next, we need to have this a little bit more round. And also, take a look at your thumb and notice where it's the widest. Look at it! Okay, it's going to be where the joint is. That's where it's going to be the widest. Alright, so that's what we need to do. So at the joint, we're going to have it the widest. Right here. Right here. And what do we say about the tip? Just the tip? What do we say about just the tip? It's bone. Bone, a little bit of tendon, and some skin. Okay. Then we're going to have that little bit right there, and we're going to dig around it. Okay. Smooth it out. Okay. Next, a little bit more beefier at the curve, or at this fold right here. Have it go around. Okay. And then much beefier here. Okay. Okay, so it's going to come together more, right? So we shouldn't, let's see, right here at the bottom, it's gonna swoop into the thumb, and you can see how this is concave. We want to straighten that out. Okay. And then we got a much more believable thumb, and I would just say it needs to be thicker here. Okay. Much better looking thumb. Okay. So let's talk about the fingers, right? Whenever you're pointing the fingers, they should all go in towards the center of the hand, right? This is going in towards the center of the hand. That's going in towards the center of the hand. That's pretty much neutral, right? And then that's going in towards the center of the hand, right? All that. So whenever we have our fingers out like this, all of them should be going in towards the center, right there. Okay. So here, your finger, if we're gonna do that, there's gonna be a natural curve to your hand if it's relaxed, right? If we straighten it, then it's tense. If we want to relax, then it's gonna have like a bowl almost in here, right? So we want to have that as well. You can see how the pads of your fingers are straight across. So we want to imagine more of a bowl, okay? More of a bowl. Okay, and you can see how thin this pad is, right? If you even just look at your own hand, you can tell that this is not as thick as it needs to be, right? So remember, all this flexors right here are all going down the center of your palm here and attaching to each one of your fingers so you can close your hand, right? So everybody close your hand and feel your flexors right here, okay, right? And now extend your fingers and feel the back of your forearm, and now you're gonna feel those, right? So everything that has to deal with opening your hand is on this side of your forearm. Everything that has to deal with closing your hand is on the inside, okay? And they originate from each epicondyle, right? So this epicondyle, your little funny bone right here, is where all of your flexors originate and then go down your palm, okay? All of your extensors that have to deal with opening your hand come from this little bony landmark and come out and go down the back of your palm, okay? Alrighty, so what we need to do here is it's very straight and it actually even goes in, okay? So if we're gonna look at this hand, I would say halfway right here is where this knuckle should be, so we could probably bring it down just a little bit. Bring it down a little bit. bring this over. Bring that over. Okay. And then this is going down too far. Either we need to bring this pad down here, okay, which we can do. We can do that. But we probably also need to lift this up so it's not too long, okay? And then on the wrist, the issue that we have is it's just coming too close. It's just ending too much here, right? So we want to have the tendons, the vessels, the veins, all that stuff in there, okay? And remember, if anything, the wrist is going to be superior to the hand, right? See? Right? Look at your wrist. Look at it right now. You'll see this, okay? And then it's just too much beef right here. Okay. All right. So next thing we want to do is we want to have peaks and valleys for our in between our fingers, okay? Right now you just have mountain, slope, mountain, mountain, slope, mountain, slope, okay? So what we need is we need to dive down here, okay? So this webbing that you have here is in the right place, which is at the bottom of the fingers, right? So down here is where we want this webbing to be. Okay, right there, okay? And then our knuckles really aren't going to be that pronounced whenever we're like this, okay? This is the hardest hand to sculpt, is the neutral, expressionless, emotional hand, right? Everybody's tried it. Everybody's tried it. And you all know this sucks, but you can do a fist, you can do that, you can do this, right? You can do that all day. But a neutral hand is the hardest thing, is the hardest hand to sculpt, okay? So let's just, I'm just gonna use my own as reference, and this is how I sculpt every hand. Right here, it's just take a look at this, start sketching some things in that I want to do later. Okay. Take a look at the middle finger. It's, if anything, it dives down first. And then it's going to puff up here. Okay, so one thing I see a lot of students do is that they will take this line. Remember that everything that has to deal with extending our hand goes down the palm and attaches to each one of our fingers, right? So I see a lot of students doing this, where we see the line going all the way down, okay? So what I want everybody to do is I want you to stress, extend, try to hyper extend your fingers back, okay? Not too much, right? I don't want to get any lawyer letters later, okay? But if you do that and you look, you can't see those tendons grabbing onto your knuckle, okay? If you can, it's gonna stop right about here, okay? So right after this part, right, I would say about an inch after your wrist, you're not going to see any of this stuff, okay? Alrighty. And then we have like, okay, if we look at our hand, it doesn't really have that, okay? It's pretty much a straight line. So your the back of your hand is giving us the bowl feeling, and the inside of your hand is giving us the back of the hand feeling, right? So we need a little bit more soup on the inside and a little bit more, I don't know, what's the opposite of soup? A little bit more steak on this side. I don't know. What's the opposite of soup? Okay, so let's talk about this pad of the hand, all right? First, what we need to do is we need, you see how look at your hand, and you should notice that your pinky is lower than your index finger, Okay. So it should. Okay. Pizza. All right, there you go. So pizza on this side, soup on this side. Okay. So, and then the next thing is that's making your hand feel weird is that all of this needs to come down. If anything, your middle finger is going to be the peak. Okay. Something like that is what we're looking for. Look how much better that hand looks. Okay. All right. What we need to do is we need to take a look at, let's see. Okay. So you see how this is all boop, and then coming up there, we need to thin that out a little bit. It needs to be something a little bit more natural. But yeah, even if we spend this entire critique on your hand, I mean, you can take a look at the hand before and after, and you'll see how much it adds to it. Right? Just that thumb alone, and the way we're treating the hand and the wrist, right? So do not skimp on your hands, peeps. It's just as important as your face whenever you're sculpting it, okay? So make sure, you know, all the planes of the face and all that studying you do to make sure that you can get a portrait. If you're doing a full character and you can't do the hand, I mean, you'll know, and so will your client. You don't want bad hands, so learn to like hands. In the beginning, I would complain all the time. You think, yeah, you gotta sculpt these hands, yeah, you gotta sculpt these hands. But you know what? Every character has, most likely, hands. So you better learn how to do them. You better learn how to love them. And if you don't, then you better be real smart about it and just have a set of hands that you use for every single person. Okay? Or you're still gonna have to sculpt that hand really well the first time. And to do that, you're going to need to know how to love it. So there's really no way of getting around it. Okay. All right, let me check the chat. Are there any daily exercises anyone can do to improve the observational skills when sculpting? Doing écorchés over like bodybuilders and stuff like that. So what I mean by that is if we take Mr. Olympia here, okay, what I would do to practice is to écorcher it, right? So as you can see, I did it for a student before, but yeah, I would you know, take something like this and I would draw over it, right? I would say, okay, well, here's the sternum. There's the end of the sternal head. And I know it's going to go attach right there. So I know this is the clavicular head right here. This is the head of the sternum. I know it's the head of the sternum because his sternocleidomastoid is attaching to it. So I know that's the sternum. I know that's the head of the clavicle. Sternocleidomastoid. Was this the infraspinatus right here, and then the traps, then the front delt that's being twisted, the lateral delt that's being twisted, and then the rear delt that's really being twisted. The thoracic head of the pectoralis, the bicep, and then this vein is always going to be on the lateral head. It will never be on the center of, it will never be on the medial head. So you'll always know where the lateral head is, right? Brachialis, Brachial Radialis, common extensor, ulna, ulna furrow, olecranon or your elbow, short head of the tricep, aponeurosis, flexors, wrist, right? And this is the type of stuff that I would do to improve my observational skills. You really can't improve your observational skills unless you know what you are observing, right? So you have to understand the anatomy first. Okay, so if anyone wants to learn more sculpturally about the human body, you can check out my ArtStation. I have affordable tutorials there. I would suggest getting the spicy bundle. I am going to be adding last week's sessions to this. So it comes with everything you see here, right? And these are all 5 stars. There's not one that has been rated anything less than a 5-star anatomy tutorial for sculptors. Did you just hear what I said? I said none of them have gotten any lower than 5 stars on anatomical sculpting tutorials. So I'm wondering why anyone here that doesn't know how to sculpt any of these things is not rushing over here to buy and download it. Okay? So get the spicy bundle. Why? Because everything I do, every class, every tutorial will be added to this, and you're only going to pay this price. So, and it's going to go up in price every month. So it will never be discounted. Okay? So get in while you can. Okay? Just letting you know. Just letting you know. Oh, it's not an argument, it's a point. Just to see. Just a brick girl. I always have issues with making hands. Oh yeah, they are tough. Gerardo, what's going on? Pablo, I was looking at it. My God. Hey yo, what's going on there, Gecko? Appreciate you being here. Thalerin, so much valuable info. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. Pizza is the opposite of soup. Thank you, Sensei. Can you take a look at the muscles of the arm? Been struggling with the forearm anatomy last week. Yep, for sure. Tardis, what's going on? Shea RX is back. Hairy mandibles. All of his tuts are amazing. Thank you very much. Tamim Hussein, thanks, man. I'm going to be working with your courses this week. Badass. Spicy ratings. Thorns on arrow. Strange argument. What's strange about it? Tin of Slug 05. Yes, they are awesome. Good thing I already got it then. You're damn right, Tamim. Damn right. It's always kind of obsessed with the hand form. Mine aren't perfect, but I have fun with it. Hey, and that's it. Okay, that's what you need to do. Okay, so but yeah, this is what I would do to take your hand a little bit further. Obviously it's not done. Obviously it's not done, but I think we have improved it pretty drastically from what it was to where it is now. Okay, so maybe a little bit lower on this. Okay, so muscles of the forearm, you say. Muscles of the forearm, you say. Okay, yeah, we got plenty of time. Alrighty, so first thing you need to do is you need to get this brachialis going that way, not this way. Okay, so that will provide you a whole lot more room here. So we need to go here, and we need to go into the pit right there. Okay, which is going to give you a whole lot more room to bring in your Brachial Radialis, so it doesn't seem so puffy right here whenever you start sculpting it, right? So whenever you're sculpting the Brachial Radialis, you want to just bring it over. You don't want to bring it this way and then over, okay? Unless it's being pulled this way, then yeah, boom, and then over. But if it's in a relaxed position, you just want to go over, okay? So here your bicep is just taking up too much width, okay? We need to let the Brachialis down here be the width, and up here let it be the bicep, okay? And then it's inserting this way when it needs to be inserting down into the pit of our arm, okay? So here, let's see, okay. So you have your core cord Brachialis here. It needs to be a little bit longer. You kind of want to take it just above halfway down the humerus, okay? And then your deltoid is going this way when it needs to be going down, right? It needs to go this way. So it's going to cover up your bicep. And this is all going to go this way, okay? So let's take a look at the skeleton so you kind of know what I'm talking about. Strange ointment. Strange ointment. Alrighty, so here, let me show you. Okay, so your bicep is attaching right here. Okay, so you have bicep meaning two, right? You have the medial head, which is the inside, the lateral head, which is the outside. Okay, the medial head, the one that's closest towards the center, is going to go directly up the humerus and attach directly right here. Okay, this triangle shape you have here is attaching to the same spot. Okay, so it's coming out, attaching here, and then attaching directly to the humerus, ending right about there. Okay, so it should be coming down, bicep should be coming down the humerus, and then your lateral head, the one that's on the outside of your bicep, goes up your arm, and you see this little furrow right here, right there. It's going to go up the humerus and then shoot over and attach to the side. Okay, so that's the reason your biceps don't look like they're going this way, right? They're both going up the humerus. One's attaching directly to that hook, the other one's going beep, attaching that way. Okay, V Angelus, yes, this is what we've been doing. We are always critiquing here in the dojo. Okay, so you want to be careful that your bicep isn't wider as is coming out of the shoulder, and then thinner as we're making this this connection down here. Okay, so let's take a look at. Okay, notice it's got to come from out of the deltoid first, right, and then it's going to come out, right? You can see it's coming. The deltoid is going to take over, right? The deltoid is going to determine how the bicep comes out, right? So it's going to feel like like squeezing toothpaste, right? You have that little nozzle, then right, and then it's going to come out. And that little nozzle is the deltoid going over your bicep, and then it's going to come out. Okay, so we don't want to have a bicep straight line in there. It needs to go underneath the shoulder, the deltoid, and then go there, right? So here. Okay. Right there. All right. So something like that. And you want to let the brachialis be the width. Okay, not your bicep. Okay. So the inside at the end of this coracoid brachialis here that attaches to that little hook that the bicep does, that's where the brachialis is going to be in here. This one has a little bit more different shape. It kind of goes this way and then it goes in. Okay. And then this side just goes in. This one has a little, goes down a little bit and then it comes over. Okay. This one just comes across and in. Okay. And then give a little plane change right here. Nice definitive one. So you know, and so does your viewer, where that bicep is going to end. Okay. All right. So now that we have all that set up, now we can work on the brachialis here. Okay. So boom, 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 BMB. Okay. Move all that. Boom, boom. Smooth, smooth. Bring that forward. And then depending on, you know, how muscular this guy is, he seems pretty muscular. You want to have this kind of be a little bit more convex and then dive into there, right? So it's going to be a little bit more like that. Now, if he's doing a tricep extension and he's flexing it, then this aponeurosis will be a little bit tighter. Okay. So here when we look up at the aponeurosis, we want to make sure that it's domed, right? That's not a noodle going up the back of the arm. It should come from the olecranon and then go out and attach to those triceps and bring them down, right? So that's kind of what I want y'all to imagine this more as, right? Like a spider web or something. Okay. So right there, over. Okay. Now here we need to get the tricep. You have it bisected just fine. Bring it over and then bring it down, okay, to the olecranon. This right here, you want to treat kind of like an egg, right? So a little bit more round on this side, a little bit more grabbing onto there. Okay, so what's going on, Gorgon? Alrighty, so the tricep right here, we need the long head. Okay, so this is referred to as a long head, so it should be longer than this one, right? So meaning that you shouldn't have symmetry here. Okay, if anything, we can probably raise this head a little bit, bring that one down. Okay, you will never listen. You will never have symmetry on your aponeurosis on the tricep. To me, that was C-Bum last year. Okay, you will never have symmetry on the aponeurosis of your tricep because that head is way shorter than the long head of the tricep. Medial head, long head, inside head, short head, lateral head. Okay? So if any of you ever submit to me an arm again and it has symmetrical aponeurosis on the back, I'm going to take out my nunchucks and I'm going to chase you out the dojo. Okay? Alrighty. So we've got this third head here. Second head, long head. Right there. You're going to have a common tendon. Where does that common tendon come from? It comes from the scapula. Okay. So your tricep goes up. Your medial head, the long head, goes up and then attaches to your scapula right here. Okay. Okay. So your tricep shouldn't just go in here, right? It's going to attach to the scapula. Okay. Your rear delt, too much muscle. Your muscle should end here and then go over the tricep. And just like the bicep, that tricep's got to come out from the shoulder. Okay. No matter what, bicep and tricep need to go in and under your deltoid. Okay. So you have 3 heads to your deltoid. Okay. And you know what? You know what? I'm going to go to this YouTube video. I'm going to go to it right now. And I swear, if it has less than 50 likes, I'm just going to shut down the stream. I'm just going to shut down the stream. All right, that's it. We're done streaming, everybody. We're done streaming. Everybody's way too busy. Obviously not learning enough to give the video a like. Obviously not subscribing. I don't know what else. What else do y'all want? I mean, do you go to any other channel and see something like this? All right. All right. Do you see this on any other channel? Do you? Do you? Huh? Do you? Look, I'm all the way over here now. I'm on the left side. Do you see this on any other channel? Huh? Do you see any of this on any of the other channels that you go to? Do you see any of this pageantry? Any of this showmanship? Huh? Any of this energy? Do you? No, you don't. You don't. Okay? You don't. And you still haven't liked the video. You're still not subscribed. Okay? Well, that's the reason it's your opinion. Okay? That's the reason it's your opinion. And if you feel guilty about it, maybe you should like and subscribe. Right? Right. Don't argue with me. Don't argue with me. Don't argue with me. Alrighty. So there are 3 heads to the deltoid. Unethical. Unethical. I am fully ethical. I am the most ethical person. I'm so ethical. I go around letting other people know that they're unethical. Hey, if you want to be a meme in the dojo, just keep talking. Just keep talking, and you're going to be the new meme. Keep on talking! Keep on talking. All right. So we have 3 heads to the deltoid right here. So we have the lateral head, which is coming off of the acromion process right here. Okay. That's this flat area right here above your shoulder, right? So you can feel that. You can put your hand right there. Okay, and you're going to feel that flat bit before it goes into your scapula. Okay, and that's going to be on everybody, regardless regardless of the body type. Okay, so the inside head right here It's going to attach right there. And we're going to bring this around. Okay. And then we're going to have the back side of the chromium process here as well, right? So this lateral head is actually going to have 3 heads by itself. Okay. You have this over here. Okay. Lateral head. This side, lateral head. And then this side is going to have a lateral head. Okay. So back here, we're going to have this one. Right there. Okay. So we have these 2 sides, and now we need this side. Okay. So you're just going to put a little rectangle right here and mark that back. Okay. Alrighty. So next, what we want to do is we want to get this to come down, come down, come down, come down, right there. Okay. And whenever you're sculpting the deltoid, the anterior and the rear delt are not going to have nearly as many striations as the lateral head. Okay. So if we take a look at the lateral head, let's look at deltoid anatomy. Okay. And let's see if we can find a proper picture. Lateral deltoid, lateral head, lateral head. See if we can find it. What is it? Pentultimate? Was it pentol? What is it? Deltoid. Pentultimate. And what is that? Penultimate. 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 Penultimate head. Okay, so that's what it's called. All right, so it's penultimate is how you pronounce it, which means many heads to the deltoid, okay? And that's only on the lateral head, which is going to give you those striations that you're only going to see there, right? So let's see if we can take a look at this, okay? Open image in new tab. Okay, so here you can see all the striations that are happening, and it's going to be happening on the lateral head. Of course, you will see them in other places, but let's take a look at this. All right, so we see this. What do we know? That is the head of the sternum, okay? Because your sternocleidomastoid does not attach to the heads of your clavicle. They attach to your sternum, okay? So I see a lot of people going down and then beep, and going off to the heads of the clavicle, or they're sculpting it down to the sternum, but bringing the heads of the clavicle so close together that it might as well be the sternum, okay? So here we're gonna have the clavicle. Here's that chromium process right there, that little flat bit. Okay, we're gonna have the anterior head, anterior meaning front, okay? Right there, okay? And then we're gonna have this right here, okay? We're going to see all these striations on the lateral head than you will with the front head, okay? Because he's twisting it, you see his bicep is facing in towards his body, so he can expose his the lateral head of his tricep, right? So we have the egg and then the tail right there. And then we have the aponeurosis that I was talking about, okay? Brachialis, Brachial Radialis, and then the lateral head. Why? Because we can see that huge vein and we know that's a lateral head, okay? So in between the clavicular head, right, of here and the anterior head, you're going to have this little fossa that will expose the clavicle here. Okay, you can see it on this side even more, right? You can see that deep shadow and then clavicle right there. Can't see the clavicle anywhere else. It's suggested, but you can't see it anywhere else, okay? Look at all these striations happening on the lateral head right there, okay? So, something to be aware of, something to be aware of, okay? So, whenever we're doing this and it's not being twisted in, right, then we're going to put all the striations, all those little, small little heads right here and here at the bottom where it's coming together as well, okay? And then you'll see striations coming through here, okay? Because it's a penultimate, meaning many heads, right? So we have 3 already, 1, 2, 3, and then off of the lateral head is many heads, many tendons that are connecting this head, okay? Okay. Alrighty. So that's what I would do. All right. Maybe a little bit more. Have this go in because it's got to go in towards the scapula. Right there. Alrighty. So tricep, right? So we did the lateral and the medial, but where's the third one? Right? So where your funny bone is, what I want you to do is I want you to extend your arm and flex your tricep. And you're going to feel that third head attaching right there. Okay? So how do we sculpt it? So we sculpt it this way. Okay, this right here should be coming together with the brachialis, the coracoid brachialis, and the bicep all coming together. And then we're going to follow this curve, right? So, whoop, and then we're going to go there. Right, so, whoop, right there. We're going to bring this right there. And then we're going to dome this out. Okay. And bringing that in. Okay, so that's where the third head is. And then it attaches to your funny bone. Okay. All right. So we shouldn't have a, all this should be very asymmetrical. Okay. Alrighty. So to kind of finish off this arm, what we need to do, we got the brachialis in here. What we need to do is decide that this is the epicondyle and then take the flexors out and then go down the center of the palm. Okay. Right there, it's going down the center of the palm. So we even need space in between the pads of our hands. And boom, 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 boom. Okay. And have it go down the hand. Okay. So the next thing that we're missing is you can see the drop off that we have. See how it's slanted right here? So what I'd like to see is something a little bit more blocky. All right. I want you to start treating this wrist when you're blocking it out as a rectangle. Okay, and you see how it's going in here? If you take a look at the radius, you can see it's gonna pop before it goes in. Okay, so that's what we want to do here. You can see yours is just going in right here, which is making your hand feel weird. So we need to pop that out and then have it go back in. See how much more natural that looks? Okay. I know. Alrighty. And bringing this Brachial Radialis over. Alrighty. Bringing that over. And bringing that down. Okay. So, I think that's a good amount of, and then you wanted the, okay. So you see how these are the same across from each other? We want to bring this up a little bit more. Right? It should have a little bit more of an angle to it. Okay. Bring that together. Make sure you get the proportions right, all that stuff. Okay, so the flexors or the extensors we want to do is BTD. Right there. Much better. This little curve right here is a little weird. S right there. And so let's mark this in. This right here, this little bit should be pretty aggressive whenever you're sculpting this in. Okay. You're always going to, I know you see this all the time in other sculptures, and it's because they're very aggressive with this, right? And then you're going to have the epicondyle of your humerus right there, and then you're going to have all of the flexors coming out from this spot, okay? And so we need to tap that down just a little bit so that this brachialis can go over. Okay, and then have this come out. Alrighty, so we need the ulna furrow. So that's going to come from the elbow. And it's going to go to that little knob that you have on the side of your wrist right here. Your flexors are going to go over. Your extensors are going to go over. And they're going to expose the ulna furrow. Or, I'm sorry, the styloid process of the ulna. Okay, so coming out right there. And we just want to block it out. So we just want to make sure that most of the meat is right around here. And then it's starting to become tendon. So then it's going to be mostly bone after that. Okay. And you see it's boom, and then diving down. We want to be a little bit more gentle with that. And we want to bring this down. All right. So, plenty of other things that we could do with this. But you know, we only have a certain amount of time here on the stream. BTD, and then might want to consider getting a nice little flat plane for the front of the bicep. Okay, and then this is just twisted a little bit, so we need to straighten that out. Right there. Alrighty. And the forearm might be a little bit too long as well. Yeah, in fact it is, for sure. Alrighty. So I'm gonna hold Alt and just drag down that angle, and then make it a little bit shorter. Alrighty. So hopefully that helps you out, Mara. Appreciate you submitting your work in the dojo. If any of you want to have your work critiqued here on ZBrush Live here in the dojo, feel free to submit your work in the dojo. Which is Discord, totally free to everybody. You yourself can join it, and Discord. Let's see. Here's a link to the Discord right there. All right. All right, let's see. But yeah, you can join the dojo right there in the Discord. We have, I think, 500 members, something like that, and growing every day. Definitely join. I appreciate you, Sava. But you can post your work here in the critique submissions, and you can post it here, and as long as we have time, we will go over that. And yeah, so feel free to do that. That's open to anybody that joins the Discord. So Glizzy, thank you very much for joining. And we are going to get over into, I think this is Jeff. Jeff to Chef's work. Okay. Alrighty, so it's got some good character. It's got some good things going on with it. Yeah, you're almost there. You're almost there. Okay, so so you're kind of mixing things here. You're giving me a fat body, but then you're giving me a very, very emaciated looking clavicle and sternum. So maybe that is mixed. Maybe that's with this character. But generally, you wouldn't mix these two. You wouldn't have a distended belly with fat and then serratus muscles, right? So, I mean, if he has like a distended belly, that's different, right? But if he's fat, then that's different as well. Okay. So just kind of decide what you want to do. But if it's a concept, then, you know, hey, it's a concept. All right, so you have that nice little fascia in there. You need to bring this over, okay? Right now you have McDonald's arches here. Right. Ooh. Going over here, and I'm just closing that gap, okay? And so you need to go over right there, right there, right there. Okay. Then you're gonna have the sternal head right here. And I would say this is a bit too wide. It needs to come together a little bit more, and that way you can have your chest muscles right here. Right there. Okay. Right there. And then the thoracic head right there. Okay, so sternal head, clavicular head right there, and all of them are coming together right here, so it's going to be a little bit puffier. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, I forgot to get to the chat. Sorry, let me get to the chat. Yeah, because no YouTube video asks you to like and subscribe, right, D-Zinc? I mean, all those people are immoral and unethical. How dare they ask for a call to action? Oh my God, I would never. You can tell that's someone who has never streamed in their life. JS Move 311. That was one of my favorite bands. No, I'm just joking. Damn, I was going to like and subscribe to. Damn, missed them. Some people need to lighten up. We are here to hang out and sculpt. Watch Sensei do his thing. Damn right, J Murph. Did Spicer deviate from his lane? Guargun Sensei, I'm late again, but my sculpture was the first one, right? Yeah. Yes, it was. Big Dojo energy. It's too much for the weak. What's the program you're using to draw over? That's Epic Pen. It's free. Gorgon, great tip right there. Hell yeah. Logan. Logan Ben. Spicer knows your anatomy better than your doctor. Gorgon, I should try to get more buff so my anatomy could get better. That's what we're all working on. Hairy mandibles. Gorgon, I had the similar thought, but now like every character gets dad bod. Forearm flexors are pretty hard to figure out for me. Yeah, they are. Forearm is a bit long. I'm watching something off. I don't know. Yeah, we switched it. Yeah, we fixed that. Thank you, Spicer, for all those informations you keep giving to us over and over again. My pleasure. Forearms give me a headache. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they gave me a huge headache, too. I have a little knob, but it's not on the side of my wrist. Helped a lot. Thank you, Sensei. My pleasure. Oh, yeah. The pose version. And the second subtool, he drinks a lot. Oh, what a moral and toxic live this is. I know, right? Be sure to check out the pose if you can. Okay, so this. All right, so which one do you want me to critique? You want me to critique this one, or do you want me to critique that one? Oh, I guess it was this one because you had this off. Okay, so that's what he's doing? Okay. Damn, he be smoking. He be smoking. Oh. Alrighty, so let's the neutral anatomy and take a look at the pose. Okay, well your clavicle's broken right here, right? So you're gonna have to straighten that. Right there, you have to straighten that. Okay. This straighter. That's fine. Too flat. My pleasure, my pleasure. Okay, so something like that. You have noodle arms right here. So which, and it's too sharp, right? So we just went over the tricep, so you should know. I'm not gonna repeat any of that information, right? But you need to have the ulna furrow right here. So you're really good at defining your shapes. Like you have a really good way, and you're nice and contrasty with all your forms, but they're just going in really weird directions, right? So here we get the ulna furrow, right? So I'm just going to attach to the bottom of your elbow. Right there, right there. And we want to make sure that the elbow isn't the entire back side of it, right? There's going to be this flat plane right here. And then we're going to bring the Brachial Radialis over. Okay. And so if we're going to have this flat area right here, we need to bring this in to that flat area. Okay. Same thing with this. It's a little bit too puffy around there. You need to bring it in to the funny bone. A little bit less there, a little bit more there. Okay. A little bit more neutral. Shorter head, longer head. Bum, 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 bum. I'm so sensitive. Whenever someone asks me to like and subscribe, I just think it's so ethical, unethical. I think there should be some type of legislation to prevent people from asking for likes and subscribe. It's just, to me, it's just the most unethical thing ever. It's just so unethical. And I'm just, all day, all I do is just feel. Just feel all day. Y'all don't know what it's like. Y'all don't know what it's like. Feel like I feel.
Let's see. Warpa. Let's see.
Yep. Could not render this file preview. What is this? That's an STL. That's a reason. You got to put a ZTL. ZTL. But yeah, not STL. All right. It's unethical for you to do that. So unethical. Alrighty. So, yeah, we'll do that. And then you need to make sure that your pectoralis goes over your shoulder, right? Goes over your bicep. What does the pectoralis do? It goes over your bicep. Okay? No matter what position your arm is in, it's always going to go over your bicep. Okay? So that's going to leave you even more room to put a armpit, right? So unethical to use echo. So unethical. Just traumatic learning experience. Oh. Some people just have it so good, like all they can do is just complain about someone saying something. Unethical live stream. Yeah, you gotta have that armpit gold in there, like Spear Chuck says, right? And then your lat needs to go forward,
right? It's going to insert basically right here where that is, right? Where that Coracoid Brachialis is. And then you want to bring this forward first, and then send it back and have it attached to the back of your hip, okay? And then you need to round this off, okay? There, we want it wrapping around the rib cage, okay? So we don't want a sudden flat area or a sudden concave area. And you see how it's up here and then it's going this way. We want this right here to be the apex, and then we want this to go back, right? So that's going to be the height of it. Unethically. Alrighty. And then you're going to have your teres major here, but I don't think we're going to see the back of him. But we will see his lap from the front. At least we should, because it should be separated from your rib cage and your pectoralis, okay? So whenever we lift up our arm, especially like this, then it's going to pull the pectoralis up. So we're not going to have as much of a hang underneath our pectoralis as we would if the arms were down, right? Doing something like that. So we want to take this out right here. Okay. We want to have that there. Okay. So we're going to bring this over right around here. All of the heads of your pectoralis are coming together. Okay. So, let's see. Let's look up Chris Bumstead again. Bumstead 2021. Images. What pose are we doing? Up. Okay. So let's take a look at him. Open image, a new tab, and then open image, a new tab. Okay. So you can see that we don't see any of that. We see his hang because he's Mr. freaking Olympia. Okay. But for fat, drunk, goblin guy, he's not going to have that. Okay. But if we take a look at him with his arms down, we can see a clear underhang for the pectoralis as it hangs and then goes back up into the rib cage. Okay, so we need to keep that in mind whenever we're doing this, right? So when it's going over, we want the clavicular head going right there. It's not going to be too drastic. And then we're going to go straight line down here to the end of the thoracic head. And with how much of the sternum is showing, I would hint at the ribs as well. So would hint at the ribs here. So you're going to have, if we take a look at the rib structure, unethically look at this skeleton, okay? Unethical that we pull out the skeleton. We have one right at the head of the sternum, and then one at the bottom of the sternum, right? So here, we want to hint at that rib right there going around, and then we want to hint at this rib also going roughly in the same direction. Okay. And again, we're not going to see that many striations for any of that, but we should see some indication, especially down here. The xiphoid process should see a little pocket, some suggestion of the rib cage. Okay, so if this is the fifth rib, right here. Then this is going to be the xiphoid process. This is going to be the 6th rib, which all other ribs come off of, right? So you have individual ribs here, but then this one is just a collection of ribs. So 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, I think, as well. And then your last floating ribs will be back here. Okay. So you should have a good rib cage set in here. So it should be coming out. You see how that's kind of wobbly right here. I'm going to have a much more solid rib cage right in there. An ethically sound rib cage. Oh my god, here come the feelings again, you guys. Oh my god, here come the feelings. Oh my god, he asked for a subscription. He asked for me to like the video. Oh, starting to get the feelings. Ah! Unethical. Alrighty. So we're gonna have that go around. All right, so your rib cage is going to end in your oblique here, the front side of your oblique. Okay, so it's going to wrap around right there. Okay, right there. Bring that over. Okay, but the rib cage I would consider probably long overall. Probably fix it a little bit. It's probably a little bit too long. But yeah, that's the type of things you want to start observing here with your character. And then don't forget his nipple. All right, goblins need nipples too. Okay. But yeah, doing that type of thing. I know most of it's probably you'll have to look down in it. But what they don't see, I wouldn't even worry about. So if they're not going to see any of that, then I would just hide it. Right? And instead of sculpting this all the way down in there, I would just fill this up with random stuff. So we don't have to sculpt all the way down, because it's going to be a manufacturing issue that you don't really need. Like seeing the bottom of his legs or seeing all this down here is not going to add to the value, whenever most likely it's just going to be set here, and we're going to see it from here, or we'll see it from there. But very rarely are we going to put this up into our eye and look down in there and take a look. And even if we do, most of it's going to be painted black anyway, so they're not going to see anything. So I would focus all of your attention on what we can actually see. Alrighty. Armpits are unethical, people. Armpits are unethical. Okay. Everybody knows that. How dare you ask for our likes and subscribes? You've stolen our dreams. Yeah, it was a process. A box came in later. He's going to be viewed from a profile. So something like this or something like that. Because if you can, that would be the most ideal, because all this stuff is, I don't know. Oh, right here. Okay, yeah, so if it's going to be profile, then I would rotate his head a little bit more so that we can see it, right? And what's the purpose? Is this like a bookshelf, or these bookends, or? Because since it's going to be on the side, that's kind of what I would. What's the end product? But yeah, if anybody else wants any more, it's just a model for render. Well, not orthographic. Okay. Yeah, so something like this, I would definitely do that. Something like that. If we're gonna play around with the lighting, here, let's go light type, sun, increase it. So if you don't know, you can click that orange bit and it's gonna go behind the model now, right? So you can do that if you want to. And now it's on the back side of that. And over here, always a nice shadow. You want the shadows underneath, yeah. You want a rim light. Okay, and if there's any other shadows, if it's too much, then you can definitely add another light. But you definitely don't want too strong lights, you know what I mean? Something like that. Right, and get that nice render, all those shadows, and then the rim will always be there, so the form won't be lost in the background. It's just a model for a render. Yeah, sounds good, brother. It should be good. Should be good, brother. Yeah. So if it's just a model for render, then just worry about what we see. Don't worry about anything else. You don't need to sculpt anything below below his sternum, right there. Okay. So should the chest muscle always go to the biceps, even in a stylized model? I mean, if it's like a super cartoon, then, you know, pretty much anything goes, right? But whenever you got to bring that into 3D, it definitely helps to add a little bit of anatomy in there, right? Even if it's just a little bit, it's very valuable for stylized work. Like, let me show you. Like, let's see, what is it? Well, what's his name? Scotty Young. But yeah, even with this stuff, right? There's still all this anatomy in here. Okay, still the nodes of the mouth, still the temporalis, still the zygomatic, still the Y and the 9, still a mental eminence, right? Still angle of the jaw, all that stuff. Okay, even down here in the legs, there's a wait, no, I didn't do that in the legs. No, yeah, the legs were weird. Okay, let's look at something else. Scotty Young. Joker. Okay, even on this one, right? Temporal arch, orbit. Still have the nasal bone, still have the 9 and the Y, still have the lips. We still have the zygomatic, still have it going down to the node of the mouth. We might not sculpt the node of the mouth, but it's still there, right? So whenever you're doing these faces, instead of just having some round bit, you'll actually have a temporalis. You'll have this, you'll have that, okay? So this is, you know, someone else's work. For mine, in terms of stylized, you know, like for me, that's someone else's concept that I brought into 3D. This is, but even in my own work, when I do stylized stuff, let me see if we can get it here. All right, we got Dr. Disrespect. Even with this, all the anatomy's there. All of the anatomy is there, and it's still very stylized, right? Obviously, very stylized. Okay, but even with these feet, even though it's stylized, look how realistic those feet are. Okay, so you can still bring all that in. If anything, you would just simplify it more for something like that. Okay, All right. Alrighty, everybody. Before we go, make sure to follow me on YouTube. Let me give you my link tree. It's got everything there for you to cringe at, or to just tell me how unethical I am for asking for likes and subscribes. I know how unethical this is right now. Okay, I understand. Thank you for showing me the way. Okay, but definitely go to that link tree and like and subscribe on the YouTube. Stream every Friday night with a bunch of other kick-ass artists from the dojo, and we just have a good time. So definitely come in, subscribe, hang out. There's plenty of these critiques I do on this stream. I also put on my own channel during the week. So and then the art station, that is going to be updated by tomorrow, and the spicy bundle will have all of last week's sessions on there, and there's going to be that happening for the next 6 weeks, and then when the next semester starts, you're going to keep getting more videos. So yeah, I've been doing this for what, like almost 2 years on my own. So you know, hopefully you know, going forward, we'll have years and years and years and years of content for you that will, you know, hopefully you can see it from a sculptural standpoint, and where you'll you know, maybe it's not explained in a certain way on the tutorial, but you see me sculpting it and it makes sense. So yep, that's going to be coming very, very soon. So definitely get that spicy bundle and get signed up. Until then, everybody, we are going to give our thanks to the Lord of Anatomy, Scott Eaton. Thank you for being here on the stream, as unethical as it was. I appreciate you sticking around. We're going to be here not next week, because next week is the summit. So we're not going to be here next week. Okay? But we will be on my YouTube. So make sure to go there and subscribe. Okay? Make sure to go there. All right? And we have over 128 billion galaxies watching the show right now. But we are all one.